the great state of Kansas. Mr. Shawn Tiffany.
Thank you. I do hail from the great state of Kansas. I am a lifelong Kansan. I call Council Grove home. And if you don't know where Council Grove's at, that's south of Manhattan, about 35 miles. I heard you mention something about Santa Fe Street here, or Santa Fe Trail. Well, you could leave Leavenworth and get to Council Grove by yourself, but Council Grove's the town that you didn't leave without being in a wagon train because it was not going to go well for you. So, very historical Santa Fe Trail town. I grew up there, graduated high school there, went to K-State. I judged livestock and horses at K-State, and contrary to what you might believe, that doesn't get the girls the way being on a football team does. But I did meet my wife at Kansas State, and we are going to celebrate 22 years of marriage this coming Saturday. So, 4th of July, as always, thank you. We have 5 incredible kids. Our oldest is just shy of 18, our youngest is just shy of 8. I grew up working in the cattle industry. My family is a multi-generational ag family, but my predecessors, my dad, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, they were always sharecroppers, feed yard managers, ranch managers. My brother and I, 17 years ago, had the opportunity to buy the feedlot that we grew up working for, that my dad managed. And we bought it with nothing more than a handshake as our down payment and our collateral. God has blessed us richly since then. We started out with 6 employees, a little over 2,000 head of cattle, and 10 customers. Today, Tiffany Cattle Company has grown to where we have 4 facilities in 3 Kansas counties, over 60 employees, not to mention all the additional employees that for the businesses that orbit around our company. We farm a significant amount, have set interest in several other businesses, and over 200 customers, and we'll finish about 80,000 head of cattle a year. So I work for America's farmers and ranchers, and I know what it's like to not only struggle in my own business, to watch the struggle, but to also watch the struggles of my customers, those farmers and ranchers that work so hard every day, and it's difficult to watch them have to fight burdensome taxation, burdensome government regulations. Folks, I'm a product of the American dream. I am far more richly blessed than I ever thought I would be. And the American dream is not a handout. I had to work my tail off for it, and it never was a handout, but it's under attack today. The radical left, the moderate Republicans who stand in the middle and do nothing, are allowing that dream to be stripped away from us. Like you, I am angry. I'm angry that we have a wide open border. This president cares more about the security and sovereignty of Ukraine than he does our own nation. I would encourage you to look on your tables. I'm the only candidate in this race who felt it important enough to spend my own money and go to the border to see with my own eyes what's going on. Sorry, I move when I talk. I'll stand still.
Too tall.
Folks, what I saw on the Texas border, the media today doesn't even begin to communicate what's going on down there. It's a national security risk. It's a humanitarian crisis like few things I've ever seen. I saw things on the southern border that were absolutely heartbreaking, both for Americans, but also for the young people that are caught up in this. This president has sent enough money to Ukraine that we could have built a wall across the entire southern border several times over. I walked a mile of President Trump's beautiful border wall, and is it glorious? But we have a Congress that even when he was president wouldn't stand shoulder to shoulder with him and help him build it. We have got to secure our borders, first and foremost. The second thing we have to do is fix this national debt. Career politicians got us to where we're at. And thinking that they're going to get us out of the debt crisis is foolishness. I think somebody with a business mind, much like President Donald Trump, is best suited to go to Washington, D.C. and begin cutting the head off the snake that is the federal government. We have $35 trillion in debt. That's over $250,000 for every American household. And I don't know about you, but I can't take on another $250,000 mortgage. We have got to stop the spending. And then we have to start ending government bureaucracy. There are over 400 federal government agencies that are wasting your dollars and my dollars. And the fact is, states are much more effectively equipped to govern most of our day-to-day lives than the federal government. What's worse is much of that federal debt is owned by China, one of our greatest adversaries globally. I mentioned I have 5 children. And if any of you have seen my commercials, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen them, you can go to ShawnTiffany.com. But we came out swinging. We came out saying the things that everybody is thinking, but most of us are not willing to say out loud. And the left is really angry about one of my commercials. But if they stop to listen, it's pretty common sense. Keep woke nonsense away from our kids. Quit cutting on young people who are struggling with their lives, who aren't old enough to get a tattoo, buy a beer, buy a cigarette, or anything else. But yet we have a left that is pushing a radical trans agenda on these kids and manipulating them and twisting them at the most vulnerable stage of their lives. I have 3 daughters. I have 3 incredible daughters who are very athletic and very competitive in their fields. No way will I allow a young man to compete against them in their competitions that they fought so hard against.
Get rid of Jeff Pittman. He's all for that.
So, I can't believe we're even discussing these things. As recently as 5 years ago, they wouldn't have been an issue. We need to get our energy independence back. We need to quit being beholden to foreign governments for our energy that don't look out for America's first. We need people that will go to Washington, D.C. and fight alongside Donald Trump to make the hard decisions. The reason Donald J. Trump was so successful as a president is he wasn't a politician. He was a lifelong businessman who knows what it's like to struggle, to take risks, to be broke, to be highly successful, and everything in between. Folks, one of the things I'm the most proud of, beyond my family, is the fact that I've created over 50 jobs in my rural communities. Rural America rides on the back of working men and women. Working men and women that are raising children in our communities, that are going to our schools, worshiping in our churches, shopping in our grocery stores. We can make America great again. And that's why I'm in this race, because I'm sick of seeing what I've been getting out of Washington, D.C. I'll end with this. A woman at my table asked, what's the difference between Shawn Tiffany and Derek Schmidt? And I appreciate what Mr. Young had to say, but the reality is this is a 2-man race at this point. The difference is you can vote for a career politician who's been in politics since I was in junior high, over 32 years, a politician who lost a very, very winnable race and is the reason we have the most liberal governor in the state history of our state.
I agree.
Or you can vote for somebody with a backbone, with strength, with integrity, and who will stand for what's right in every single decision. And folks, I think that choice is clear. And I wouldn't risk the chance that my opponent will give up this seat to a Democrat to go to Washington, D.C. Thank you all.